Good morning. What I hope to cover today is talk a little bit about diversity, why it's important in the legal profession, talk a little bit about how we can improve diversity, whether it be at our law firms or whether it be at our businesses, and then close up with an initiative that's going on right now that I think has a significant opportunity to expand diversity in our profession. So first of all, why is diversity and inclusion important? You know, I'm an older guy. You go back to the 60s when I was a kid, and we didn't call it diversity, we called it civil rights. And the view at that time was civil rights was legally the right thing to do, it was morally the right thing to do, and frankly, it was religiously the right thing to do. And frankly, all those reasons stay valid today. But in addition, in corporate America, corporate world, we've really started to focus on the business value of diversity. Try to move this on. Oops. So as far as the business value of diversity, I would say there are 6 items that we focus on that I think I'm sort of a numerical type guy, so I sort of focus on various items. And first of all, my true belief is you're only as good as your talent and teams. It's all about talent and teams. And if we look at the talent of the future, it frankly is changing pretty dramatically. 57% of undergrads are women, 50% of law school grads are women, and in the year 2042 or 2044, whites will be a minority in this country, never to be reversed. So if you want the best talent, if you want to go after the best talent, you frankly need to focus on diversity. The same demographic destiny that's impacting talent is also impacting our customers. So for a company like mine, if we want to understand our customers, if we want our customers to be comfortable doing business with us, if we want to look like our customers, we have to focus on diversity. So both of those items really focus on the diversity piece. The next 4 focus on diversity and inclusion, and you really need both. Diversity is the noun, inclusion is the verb, and you need both. So the third item I focus on is frankly decision making. A diverse team makes better decisions. One of my best and favorite studies on this, near and dear to all of us lawyers, is Sam Summers, a professor at Tufts, did a study of mock juries where he gave them a fact pattern and had them work on it, and he had mock juries that were diverse and some that were non-diverse. Those that were diverse found more issues, deliberated longer, and came out with a better result. There are many other studies that show the same, but you frankly make better decisions if you have a diverse team. The next thing I focus on, number 4, is innovation and creativity. In corporate America, we spend a lot of time talking about how we can innovate, how we can be more creative. And diverse teams simply are more innovative and more creative. Those of you that have read Walter Isaacson's book on the innovators, you know, he focuses there in the book on how, you know, mathematicians work with engineers to come up with great ideas. Of course, Steve Jobs always talked about technology married with the liberal arts. It's bringing those different thoughts together that drives innovation and creativity. Number 5, engagement. In corporate America, probably at your law firms, you spend a lot of time trying to figure out how you can make your employees more engaged. A diverse workforce simply is more engaged. When you come to the workplace, realizing you will be recognized for, frankly, your ability and the opportunities given to you as compared to who you are more engaged and therefore add more value to your enterprise. So what does this all drive? Number 6, productivity and results. A diverse and inclusive team simply gets better results and is more productive. So diversity was the right thing to do, still is the right thing to do, but I would argue it clearly is the best thing to do. Second of all, I want to talk a little bit about how you put together or improve your diversity program, whether it be at a law firm or whether it be in-house. Again, my numbers, I focus on 4 items. You got to create the environment, you got to brand your efforts, you got to establish a pipeline, and you got to develop and promote the diverse individuals. So as far as really creating the environment, whether it be a law firm, whether it be in-house, you need to have a diversity policy where you define diversity, where you say why it's important, and you indicate the steps you're going to take to advance it. You probably need a diversity committee with a charter that lays out what that diversity committee is responsible for. You need to make sure in your outside counsel guidelines and rules that diversity is something that's important and you've laid in there and that you value it. You need to include in the objectives of your direct reports and the organization that they will work to advance diversity. It will be included in their reviews, and yes, it will be included in their compensation. That's what will really drive the change. And then you've got to make sure that for your outside team, your outside vendors or law firms, that you make it clear that you want the data on the teams you're getting as far as diversity, and you want to make sure you get diversity at all levels of responsibility, and I'll talk about that in a minute. How do you brand yourself? So now you've created the environment. You want to brand yourself, you want to write articles, you want to be on panels, you go to conferences, you get tables. We have a 1L diversity clerkship program. I speak at events like this. I want to brand MassMutual as a company as one that is really acceptive and values diversity and inclusion. It allows me to attract better people. It allows me to be more successful in the marketplace. Then create the pipeline. How do you get the pipeline? Whether it be the people you're going to use for outside law firms or whether you're going to be the people you want to hire. Many of the things I talked about in creating the brand apply to developing the pipeline. You go to events, you advertise. Whenever we advertise for a new lawyer position, we do it in diverse periodicals. We have a database of diverse people that we meet. When we're looking for new people to hire, we send out a notice to all those individuals, and it may be the African-American female that does employment law. We're looking for an insurance law attorney, but she knows somebody that she can pass it on to. We have a diversity connector on LinkedIn that reaches out to that crowd. And clearly in the interview process, you have to ensure, and it's a requirement at MassMutual, that every slate be diverse, and frankly, that the interviewers be diverse, because you got to make sure that you see all perspectives as you do the interviewing process. Then as far as developing and promoting the people, whether it be in-house or outside, mentoring is so important. I mentor probably more people than I want to know, but I'm always mentoring several law students. Sponsorship, which is different than mentoring, really putting your name behind people. You know, people say, well, gee, you know, all the people I mentor, I can't necessarily sponsor. That's true, because some of you are really trying to make successful, but you may not say, gee, this is somebody I would really recommend for this, but you ought to be able to find somebody out there to sponsor. And so really encourage your people to find people that are different than them that they can sponsor. Conferences are a great way to learn. The National Bar Association Commercial Law section has a great conference. Corporate Counsel Women of Color is great. I'm on the board of LCLD, Leadership Council for Legal Diversity. We have a scholars program, we have a mentoring program, we have a Pathfinder program, we have a fellows program. Matter of fact, tomorrow I'll be down in Dallas talking to the Pathfinders. And those are great ways to help people develop that are diverse and be successful in the workplace. The last thing I wanted to cover is something I think we all can work on right now together to expand diversity in our profession. I was privileged this year to be co-chair of Paulette Brown's ABA Diversity Inclusion 360 Commission. Paulette Brown was the president of the ABA. She divided us up into 4 task forces. I was assigned to the Economic Case Working Group, no surprise, based upon what I focus on and where I'm from. And our group really focused on how to create economic incentives to increase diversity in our profession. As I mentioned earlier, it's all about talent and teams. It's really all about talent and teams. And you need to have teams that are diverse at all levels of responsibility. In-house, it's not so bad. We got a lot to improve. But if you look at the general counsel of the S&P 200, 27% are women, about 10% are people of color. At the law firms, at the equity partnership level, it's about 17% women and about 5% people of color at the major law firms. So, push the wrong button there. So when I look at my data at MassMutual, frankly, I think I'm doing pretty well. My in-house team is 44% women, 18% people of color, 8% openly LGBT. My 2 general counsels and major subsidiaries at Oppenheimer Funds, Asian women, at Barings, African American male. My outside counsel spend is 45% with women and 18% people of color. But then I asked the firms for their data, not what I'm buying, but their data. Equity partner firms I use is a little bit better than average, about 22% women, about 5% or less 5% people of color. And then I asked for the top compensated of those firms, and it starts to collapse. About 11% are women, and less than one, much less than one, are people of color. So it's clear to me, despite my demands for diversity, as far as what I'm getting from my law firms is rotating associates. So what do we do about this? On August 8, the ABA passed a resolution 113. It had two parts to it, and it urges the providers of legal services to diversify their organizations at all levels of responsibility. The second part focuses on me. It urges the buyers to purchase more from diverse attorneys. My view simplistically is I ought to quit looking out the windows, look in the mirror. I'm the buyer. I ought to quit complaining, and frankly, I ought to be buying diversity because that's what will drive the change in our profession. So I really need, the buyers need to be the implementers. But as you look at a candy wrapper, or a piece of candy, you often don't understand what's inside that wrapper. And so what we've worked on together is we created a model diversity survey at the ABA where we're going to see what's inside the wrapper of the law firms. The law firms are involved in helping us draft it because, frankly, they get so darn many of these surveys to fill out, it drives them crazy. They'd rather have one simple one. It's short. It's only 4 pages long. It has consistent definitions and time frames, and it is easy for us, of course, the in-house folks, to compare. So what do? Now we got the survey. We took that survey and we sent it out. Karen Roberts, the general counsel of Walmart, and myself, sent it out to the Fortune 1000 general counsels. And we asked them to join us in agreeing to 4 things. Number 1, they publicly support Resolution 113. Number 2, they will ask the firms that are providing a significant amount of legal services to complete the survey. Number 3, that for any new significant matter, they will ask the firm to complete the survey. And number 4, most important, they agree that the results of the survey will be a factor in making their buying decision. Good news, 56 actually, corporations have already signed up, and these are the big names in corporate America: American Express, CVS, Capital One, Hewlett-Packard, PepsiCo, Northwestern Mutual, New York Life, Mass Mutual, United Airlines, Walmart, just to name a few. We have all agreed that we are all supporting ABA 113. We'll get the data and we'll use it as a factor in our decision making. So what can you do to help, those of you in the audience? If you're in-house, I'd go back and say, do you support ABA Resolution 113? Are you joining the General Counsel Initiative? And will you use the data in your decision making? If you're at a law firm, I would say, go back and ask, do you support ABA Resolution 113? And will we develop the data to respond to the model survey and publish our results? I guess in closing, I would say, I'm optimistic. As I mentioned earlier, I really believe diversity and inclusion is the best thing to do. I do believe it will decide the winners and losers in corporate America and in the law firms in the future. And finally, I do believe that due to the competitive environment we live in, change is happening, and it's happening fast, and the winners will be diverse. Thank you very much.